It's Bitcoin, y'all. I'm your host, Zoom Out. Here, it's July 19th, 2022, and today I want to talk about Bitcoin adoption and just a couple things that are going on that will potentially push more adoption in society by Bitcoin. So the first one is that the Bank of International Settlement, which is the central bank that oversees the policy of all the other central banks, including the Federal Reserve in America. So it's kind of like you think of it as the central bank that sits atop of all the other central banks. So it's a global non-government organization that controls money policy. And I believe it was June 30th, but at the end of last month, they issued guidance that would allow central banks to keep up to 1% of their assets stored in cryptocurrencies. So they classify different investment vehicles, and they call this Class 2 cryptocurrencies. We won't get into that too much, but Bitcoin's a part of that. So the important thing about that is that it's no longer zero. The central banks are saying that they can keep 1% of their assets in Bitcoin. That's not a lot. It's a lot when you're considering all of the money. It's still a lot, but it's not a lot from a percentage standpoint. But the point is, it's no longer zero. So that is a huge step from where we were even a few years ago, to go from central banks declaring that it was a nothing burger that's going to crash and burn into the sea to, well, you can keep 1% of your assets in it. And that opens the door in the future for more adoption. Second thing I want to talk about is there's a company called Impervious. And I'll put a link in the notes below to their website. It's impervious.ai. And what they have done is they've taken, you have Bitcoin monetary net protocol. The Bitcoin protocol is the base layer. And then on top of that, you have something called Lightning. And Lightning allows peer-to-peer payments without any third-party intermediary. So it actually allows payments at the speed of light to be cash settled immediately. And it's the thing that you're seeing innovation come out of right now for integration into that merchants can take and use to accept Bitcoin. So that's interesting in itself. I've talked about that in how NCR Payment Systems is working on integrating that, and how that can drive huge adoption in the future. But that's called a layer 2. So you get a base layer and then a layer 2 that's built on top of that. And then there's now this layer 3 that Impervious is building. And so what it's going to allow is for, let's take a company like WhatsApp is a messaging system that a lot of people use. So instead of having to trust a third party, which is the company WhatsApp, to facilitate messages and potentially gather information on people and then sell it off, this is going to allow, built on top of the Lightning Network, it's going to allow you to have a connection from one computer to another that's completely encrypted, that no decrypted information leaves the ecosystem whatsoever, and you could send messages to each other. It would work with something like Zoom too. You could open a video line from computer to computer that no other company would be spying on you, meaning gathering your information so they can sell it later. 100% safe communication without any third party looking at what you're doing. So if you're a company that needs to have a video conference meeting or a video meeting and you want it to be very safe, why wouldn't you use that instead of Zoom, where the company Zoom could be looking in on what you're saying and getting that information? So the neat thing about all of this stuff is these guys developing this stuff, the coders themselves, are super idealistic. Their highest ideal is freedom. And they put their money where their mouth is, so to speak. And what I mean by that is this stuff is published open source. So Impervious is going to be launching it. They've stated that it's ready to go. They're going to be launching it next month in August, and they're going to be publishing the code open source so that anyone can copy it for free and build on it, use it, improve it. And they want that. They want community feedback. They want everybody to look at it, make sure that there's no issues with it, that it's working properly, and then build on it. And so that use case of Zoom or WhatsApp or something, replacing those centralized databases, information gathering databases, with the ability to do the same thing fully encrypted, that no company can take your information, that's going to catch on some level. And as it becomes user friendly with development, it'll catch up on a great level, I believe. So again, I'm going to put a link to that website down below if you want to look into it a little more. And then the last thing I'm going to say is a little explanation on what I mean by base layer, layer 1, layer 2. So it's kind of like a website. So there's a base layer protocol that has a security on it. And then on top of that, you could have something like HTTP colon // You've seen that in front of websites. So that is a protocol that's a layer 2 built on top of the base layer, which is really secure. And then the HTTPS gives up some security, but allows you to build a web interface that allows people to interact with it. And then you can have layer 3s that are built on top of that, which allow you to do even more stuff. So this works the same way. We're talking about protocols. These are things that live on the internet and that work in a way that you can build on top of them in layers. And you're going to see that happen more and more. That should drive more adoption. And so that's it. That's all I got today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please hit the like and share, and I'll see you next time.